Man, what a mental story, or just thing to be going on. Read this. The incel community is having a nuclear meltdown because one of their leaders finally got laid. Now, I obviously know that there's two different things with incel. One of which is the actual literal meaning, incel being a combination of two words, involuntary and celibate, which basically just means you want to fuck, but you can't. So you're celibate, as in you don't have any sex. Involuntary. Because of course you can just be celibate, you can just say I don't want any sex, and then you're not an incel, you're just celibate. But then obviously incel is a movement, right? It's basically people that they've gotten together and formed like a group, and they're really angry, and they think the world owes them something. And some of the things I read about, you know, we're going to go through some of it here. Some of the stuff these people say, they're just so disconnected from reality, it's actually crazy. And obviously there's been a lot of dangerous people from these communities. That's why they typically get banned on pretty much anywhere they go. So they've had to go make their own forum and stuff. But obviously when you read the headline, incel communities having a meltdown because when their leaders finally got laid, surely this is the goal, isn't it? Because if you're involuntarily celibate, that means you want to get laid, which means if somebody does, isn't that like they've graduated? They've won. They've done the thing that they wanted to do. They're no longer involuntary celibate. Why? How could you be mad at this? Isn't that what you would all want to be doing? Because if you don't want to do it, that means you're not involuntary celibate. You're just celibate. In which case, why are you fucking mad for? But here we go. I feel a lot of mixed feelings about leaving the incel community. While it feels good to no longer be incel, he's basically flexing. It feels good to get up in them walls. It feels good to finally get my end away. I'm going to miss all the friends and connections I've made. Could just remain friends with them, of course. To all of you who have supported me over the years, thank you. I start a new chapter in my life, albeit late. You see, this is the crazy thing to me, is that sex is just a normal thing. It should never be the like core thing of your life, should it? It should never be like, I've not had sex, therefore I'm this kind of person, and I do have sex, so therefore I'm this kind of person. It's crazy that this is all their life. Their entire life is dedicated to this one thing. This dude's had sex one time, and now he's writing a book, walking around with a fucking monocle on, smoking an old style pipe, like tipping his hat at everyone he walks by, when in reality he's just had sex. It's not really all that serious, is it? But then again, he was an incel, so congratulations, you're finally not. But then the comments, mate, it's honestly disgusting that you betray your community when some chick finally settles for you. They just hate women, don't they? That's the other thing, right? Some people are incel, and they're just normal people who just don't have sex and they'd like to. But there's obviously something going on that means that they can't. Usually something that would be really easily solved if they just stuck to the core tenets of life, which is don't be a fucking weirdo and you'll be alright. And even if you are a weirdo, don't be a creepy weirdo. Because just in general, if you're just a normal person, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter how tall you are, which is a thing we'll get to because that's a fucking crazy rabbit hole. There's someone out there for you. You've just got to stop being weird. Or at least be quirky, like interesting weird. Not like this. And he responds, and this dude's had sex one time and he just starts calling them virgins. He's just the ultimate flex. He's come out fucking swinging. Well, enjoy being a virgin for some weird cause. No one wants to be incel, lol. We are not Jedi. That's actually a banging quote. We're not Jedi. We're just incels. And it does make me laugh that this dude's like, it's disgusting that you'd not be involuntary. Everything about this just confuses the fuck out of me. Because surely this is the end goal for an incel, is to no longer be celibate. It's just wild to me. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but I just can't get it through my head because it's everyone. Why do you leave? Did you manage to stop being an incel? I mean, he's had sex, so yeah. And so then, do you feel no longer being identified with so many sad, depressed men out there? Imagine if normal people are clueless and careless about being a virgin past 25 to 30 plus years old. How is to have now careless ex-incel? I don't even know what the fuck this means. But just in general, bro, nobody cares if you've not had sex before. I guarantee you, nobody cares. Unless you're playing Call of Duty or something, and people are going to call you a virgin anyway. Literally nobody actually cares. They'll probably say it to clown on you if you talk about it, just because that's what people do. They go for the lowest hanging fruit. But do you think anyone's going to bed at night thinking about whether or not you're getting your dick wet? No, nobody gives a fuck. Only you do. It's only a big deal to you. This is the equivalent of LeBron retiring. The incel community has lost their biggest prospect. I'm so confused. I just don't know what the fuck to say to that. So there's more. This is why it's the same dude again. This is why the incel community will never start a movement and bring about change. What change? You just don't have sex, brother. There doesn't need to be any change. There needs to be no movement other than in your fucking brain. What are you going to do, mate? The government's not going to give you pussy, are they? The government's not going to come and give you... And this is legit what they think and what they believe and what they want to happen. Some of these people legit think that it's the government or society's responsibility to give them a woman. No, it's not. They're people. They are people too. Just stop being weird and somebody will let you touch them. It's just so fucking weird. It only takes one hoe. Yeah. Anyone who has sex with somebody is a hoe. To sacrifice herself and give some crumbs of pussy, and the whole movement would collapse due to too many betraying. Inceldom isn't some club or movement. It's a bunch of men who are ostracized from society. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's you making it that. Nobody ostracizes you if you just haven't had sex. Nobody. At no point are you going to like a bar and they're stood at the door and they're like, let me smell your dick. Have you had some pussy before? Like, let me check your belt for some notches. Nothing in society is ostracizing you at all. Unless you call yourself an incel and join this fucking weird community. In which case, yes. But at that point, it's not because the sex. It's because you're calling yourself this thing and making it into this big thing that it doesn't need to be. I know people who have not had sex and are 30. Guess what? They don't care. Nobody else cares. Nobody brings it up. They still have great relationship with their friends. They still have friends that are women. They have great relationships with their family. It makes no difference to anybody. Adults do not care if you're having sex or not. They sincerely don't. And nobody's betraying anybody by finally graduating from not having sex. If that's what they choose, which of course they do, otherwise they'd just be celibate, like I said. It's kind of implied in the name. Don't worry, no one will miss you, fake cell. I hope the stinky hole you got was worth it. Yeah, no wonder. There's no surprise why these people can't find somebody to have sex with. Like, it's crazy that they think this is society's fault and not the fact that they call women stinky holes or refer to women's vaginas as stinky holes. And if anyone ever, like, does the thing that you would hope that they all strive to do, no longer be an incel, they're fake. Wild. So this dude again, he's in there. I get that, but the less of us remain in the community, the weaker our movement and voice becomes. There's no movement, man. If you are staying a virgin for some cause, you need to stop now and reflect deeply on life. This dude has literally found philosophy inside a vagina. He went in it once, and he's come out spouting fucking Socrates and shit. No one in their right mind wants to be incel. Look out for you, not abstractions like movements. True. Traitor. He's got some black pills there. Look, he's a nice black pill gentleman. Stay in touch with your friends. I intend to. Yeah, good idea. Yeah. For some reason, many people who are not incel go to the community to seek status. I've seen this. This is true. People will go to the community and be like, I'm Chad and I fuck Stacy all the time. They actually talk like this, by the way. It's really sad. I have lots of sex and I'll tell you guys how to have sex. And then they, coach them and some of them don't want to be coached, of course. Will you tell the lady you are a moderator for the world's most prominent incel forum? And congrats. And she said, and he says, she sees my Twitter, she knows. One taste of pussy pie and a man will turn his back on his friends just like that. Wise words there from old man boy pussy at boy pussy risers. I mean, again, you're not going to be in the incel community anymore if you're no longer an incel, are you? It's literally in the name. It's in the name. You'll be back, Brev. How? He has sex now. How's he going to come back? No coming back once you cross the bridge. You are the equivalent of a dropout having $600,000 in his shitcoin wallet. Love a good cryptocurrency reference. Get rich quick. Get poor quick. No one competent will ever let himself be on the verge of luck. So yeah, if you have sex, you're just lucky, I guess. Son, I'm in tears. Same. So they don't seem to understand it, because obviously they treat it as if it's not just the meaning of the word incel, involuntary celibate. They do actually treat it as if it is a movement. Bro had sex once and all of a sudden no longer... Yeah, that's how it works generally, yeah. Here's the thing, you're not really different. I mean, he's not an incel anymore, he's had sex. I hope so-called incels realise that. Not having sex shouldn't make you angry, true. Loneliness is hard, but some people are just late bloomers, true. From what I see from the incels, it seems like a toxic way to identify, very true. You could just, like I say, you could just not have sex, want to, but still just not be a fucking utter cretin. But the problem is, what you end up doing is ostracizing yourself from society, joining a group of literal extremes. Like, it is an extreme community, but in every sense of the word. And like anything, like conspiracy theories, like anything like this, once you get in that pipeline, there's only two ways you can really go. And one is quickly back out, and the other is fucking deeper and deeper, until the point where if you go on some of these forums and shit, I used to read the subreddit before it got banned, and man, the way they talk about women and the reasons they come up with as to why, like, girls won't talk to them or won't like them and stuff is just so detached from reality and so hateful and toxic and just disgusting. So they've turned it in, so they've changed it from obviously just being the word to being, I identify, like, this is what I am. And even if I had sex 1,000,000 times, I'd still be this thing. Whereas it really shouldn't be that deep. Oh look, they've even got their own NFT scammers. There's an NFT for ex-incels, so you can collect it like a chip when you go to like Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. This guy says the community will grow more and more, don't worry. And he's actually right. I saw a statistic, something like 30% of men are virgins, which is a strikingly high number of people. And obviously as society becomes more and more digital and online, of course this is going to happen. We've already seen it. It's trending upwards. Which is really sad because, again, all of this is just a problem of their own creation. I saw somebody comment on one of these, but I can't find it. It was in one of the replies. Someone was essentially saying, like, oh, why would you be an incel? It's not that difficult. You can, go outside a bar and somebody will have sex with you for, like, a cab fare, basically. Which is not wrong. Like, it's not difficult if you were just looking for anything. And obviously sex work exists, but they just don't want to do that, I guess. But somebody replied to it and was like, what can I do? I'm 5'7". So this person, and I've seen this a lot online, because I do like following things like this because I find it really interesting. Like just these fringe topics and communities that are so insular and don't really see mainstream attention at all unless it's some crazy shit going on. Because it's so wild that people live in such a just crazy way compared to like how most other people think, and how they've made some real non-issue that nobody cares about into this huge thing that is all-encompassing for their entire life. But they sincerely think things like being 5'7" means no girl would ever get with me. And that actually is just a thing that comes from the internet of like, oh, I saw a picture on Reddit of somebody who was 5'9", was on Tinder, and the girl said to him, like, I only speak to guys who are 6'4" or over. It's just terminally online, like, rhetoric. If you go out into the real world and talk to real people, at no point is a woman ever going to pull out a fucking measuring stick or a tape measure and start sizing you up to see how tall you are. If you're just a nice person, and I don't mean nice as in like, yes, milady, tips fedora, nice guy. I just mean general, like, you're not a dickhead. you're good to talk to, you're polite, you're funny, like any of the traits that most people would deem to be endearing in another human being. You can be ugly as fucking sin. You can be a short king. You can be any number of things. And there will be somebody for you. It's not that difficult. But obviously, it is difficult for these people because they turn it into this thing and then they put it all on something that's not changeable. When in reality, it's them that is always the problem. And it's so easy. Like, I'll give you an example. Something that almost everyone can relate to if you're watching this video and you like video games. When you play a team game, like when I play Dota or whatever, or CSGO, it's so much easier to play a team game than it is to play a 1 versus 1 game, because in a 1 versus 1 game, you can only blame the game or the developers or lag or something like that. Because when you get down the list of excuses, there's just you and yourself to blame, which is almost always the case. In a team game, you can blame your teammates because it can always be somebody else's fault because you're infallible, right? Even if you did do some things wrong, it never contributed as much as this other person who you can blame. And it's the same thing when it comes to like stuff in your life. I could say that it's because I'm not a very nice person and I've not done any character development, and I've not figured out how to talk to people, and I'm weird and I'm creepy, and I join a community called incels and act like a fucking weirdo. Or I could say, oh, it's because I'm 5'7" and I can't change that. So it's definitely that thing's fault, and I can't change how tall I am. So fuck it, society's against me, and I'll be this way forever. When in reality, it makes no difference. Like, the people who would turn you down for being 5'7" are not people you'd want to be with anyway if you weren't just searching for somebody to have sex with and actually searching for a partner or something meaningful. But yeah, preaching to the choir, of course. I'm sure most people who watch my videos aren't like this. I know some people in my community do have weird feelings about stuff like this and probably are adjacent to this or like on the precipice. So maybe this will help somebody, but either way, I think it's fucking mad interesting. This is basically what my Twitch stream usually is. Just find a weird community and then just talk about it for a long time and find weird stuff. But yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching as always, and see you next time. Peace out.